All right, so for last class, we looked at. I'll try to go over what we did last class. All right, so we looked at the odds guy, and then we tried to fire an alert message when something happened. So I had some couple of distractions, and we were able to complete it. And at a point, we missed out some things, but we couldn't complete it. So I'll go over that again. Um, I'll go over that again. I'll probably comment out all of these guys. But before I do, let me search for this inside that login HTML and remove it. Just if you remember, I told you guys that's not the best way to do it, but I had to do it to get it working. But now we can remove it. So we're removing the error guy. We don't need it anymore. We need to have a global one. So which other guy? Error test. Yeah, I think a lot too. Hopefully it's inside that folder. Alright, so yeah, it's inside the folder. So we remove that, and then we can remove this. Alright, we can remove this. We don't need to be doing all of this. Alright, so yep. So we had our guy already working, the login and the other one already working fine. So it was the error message we wanted to work on, and then we'll continue with the other things the last time. So let's continue from that error message. So I have this alert guy that was giving us issues. Alright, so we're going to go over it again. So we have our function, call it error. So let me call this alert. Or yeah, we can call it show alert. Or let's just call it alert. And they will say show error. Or let's call it error. Error equals error is going to be a function. We can use any kind of function here, but let me use a nameless function because we're already naming it inside. Remember, this is a class. I put us through what a class is and how we use classes. So this is a class, and then a class can have properties. So one of the properties is this method. Alright. Sorry, a class can have attributes or stuff. I don't know. Yeah, attributes. So one of the attributes is this thing. So the properties are like the static ones. Sorry, not the static ones. The ones that are not methods. Like, let's say name equals Emeka will be a property. Alright. But this Bamidele. Hello, Bamidele, can you hear us? So I think he's mute. Probably can't hear us. So let's continue. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Alright. So error is going to be a function. It will take the error message. So we can just say message. Alright. And then we display the error message. Alright. So I already have the guy here, but I want to take you guys through how I did it. So I didn't want to just uncomment this guy, because I promised to look at it after that class, because I had some distractions. I couldn't really concentrate. I needed to go fix something. So let me go back to get Bootstrap so that I'll go through it again, so you see how I did it. So I go to the docs. What we used was an alert. So I'll go to the alert. Where is component? I go to the alert component. So these are the alerts they have. So I want to pick the one that we can dismiss. Alright. So because we don't want that error message to be there all day. Want the person to be able to remove it. So I'm looking for, there are different kind of alerts. If you notice, you can see different kind of alerts. So looking for the one that's dismissible. Yeah, this is the guy. So this is dismissible. All right. So we can use this guy. I'll copy it. So I'll come here. Make it to be my template. Because template equals this guy. So I try to ident. And then ident this guy too. Alright. So instead of this text they have here, I want to put my message inside here. So I'm gonna put, this is how we do interpolation and pick out the message. I believe you all know this already. So I pick out my message. I don't need all these are tests. Remember, all those are like placeholders. Excuse me. So if you pay attention, instead of being plain like the one we used last class, this one has a button. Alright? With some classes and attributes, which when we import Bootstrap JavaScript and CSS, all these things is what's going to be turning it on and off. Alright? So have the alert warning, alert dismissible. This was missing in the former one we used because that one is not dismissible. The fade, show, blah. All of these are coming from Bootstrap. Alright? If you go through Bootstrap classes, the documentation, they explain what all of these classes do. So this is what's going to be controlling it. We don't need to be writing the CSS to turn it on and off like we were doing the last time. So show the message and then so what we're going to do is to test it. I want to take you through the whole procedure actually. So I'm going to test it. Alright. So we will fetch, when we do this, we attach it to the body. Alright. So we'll have we'll create an element and attach this guy to it and then attach it to the body of whatever page you are in, because one that needs to be working for every page. You don't want it to be attached to one single particular page that we did the last class in what's it called, in login HTML. So after creating the template, I do const I want to grab the body of whatever page you are in, equals document dot get elements, element by tag name. So which tag are we looking for? We are looking for body. So grab body. When you grab body, then let's create the guy, the elements we're going to attach to body, because what we're trying to do is to append something to body if there is an error. So let's create it. I think I mentioned this some time ago that we can actually create elements even from back are you serious? So yeah, Google started some funny thing recently. Their free calls now last maximum of an hour. Alright, so what it means is, for us to extend, we need to pay. We need to upgrade, and that's an indirect way of saying pay. So $9 per month and stuff. So we don't want that. So there are no free calls anymore. You need to pay after if you want it to last for more than an hour. I think Zoom does that too. Zoom is like 40 minutes or 45 minutes. So we're using Teams because it was free. So but then we can always create another one. Let's create another one. Start an instant meeting. Yeah. So I've dropped this link. I'll drop this in the call message. Um, I'll drop this here. All right. You guys can see it, ba? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so join using that guy. Join using that guy. Let's switch to the new one. I'm waiting for you guys. So everybody switch to the other one. And then I'll end this one. But if I end it, you won't be able to see it again. Admit. Admit. I'm waiting for 2 more people. If this one ends, you won't be able to see the link. Akindele, Sebastian, and Bamidele, you can switch to the other distance. Can you guys hear us? Akindele, Sebastian, and Bamidele, can you guys hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. That's what I'm trying to do.
Alright. So in less than probably 5 minutes, they will end the call automatically. So you could copy the link and paste it somewhere. Sebastian and Bamidele, if you guys can hear us, switch to the new link. Alright, so let's move on. Let me mute this and let it die natural death. So let's move on. Alright, so I want to create the div we're going to be attaching to the body when an error happens. So whenever an error happens, this happens, it will create this template, create an element, put this guy inside it.
No sharing your screen here.
Oh, it's true. So I need to stop sharing from here and then share from here. Thank you. Hopefully you can see my screen now. Can you see my screen? Hello? Is my screen up now?
Yes, that's
It's okay.
Alright,
yes.
so let's move on. So let's move on, guys. Let's create the element. So const, let's call it error div or error elements equals documents dot create element, right? Which element are we trying to create? We're trying to create a div. All right. When we create a div, what do? We attach this our template to it. So error div dots inner HTML equals that our template. So attach that template to it, and then what do? We append this error div element to the body that we've picked. Does it make sense? So because this is returning a list of elements with the name body, but we know it's just body is always one. We can't have more than one body element, so we want to pick the first guy. So body dot append. What are we appending to body? We are appending the error div that we created. All right. So this should be fine. So we're gonna import this guy, and on DOM content loaded, we'll display it to see what it looks like. Now, very important. Any page you want to use this alert message, we import it. I've imported it here. This alert class, I've imported it here. Now make sure you import it before the guy that will use it. We are using it inside auth.js, so you need to import it inside before auth.js. If you import auth.js before it, it's going to tell you that it's undefined. So import alert.js before auth.js. Then we come inside auth.js, and then we import alert.js. So we could say const alert, small alert equals new alert coming from that our guy. Alright, from small alert equals new alert. And then when you load this guy, once DOM content is loaded, alert that's the instance of the class now, dot error, is it error we called it? Let's check again. Oh yeah, we called it error. So alert dot error. Duplicate blah blah blah. Alright, so I think the right thing. Dot error. Alright, so yeah, let me rename this. I think it's clashing with a default. It's clashing with let me call it show alert. It's clashing with an inbuilt interface. Then call this guy this. Alright, so show alerts, and then yes. So it was supposed to be suggesting. It wasn't suggesting, so I was worried. Yeah, it's not suggesting. So remember, we already have alert inbuilt, so it was clashing with it. So show alert dot the message. Let's say error message. Now we'll be able to reuse this guy. So let's go live and see how it works for login. Alright. Now, because we are using a dismissible component, remember initially we only imported linked the CSS of Bootstrap. Now we are supposed to link the JavaScript to make this dismissible component work, and I've done that. In login HTML. So I linked the Bootstrap. The Bootstrap JS is on Bootstrap. When you go to Bootstrap, you see it. If you go to introduction, you see how to link. So this is it. These are templates. You link the CSS, you link the JavaScript. Alright. So let's continue. So I've linked the JavaScript so that I'll be able to get that JavaScript to work. And then I come here and I'm saying, no, not here. And I'm saying once the DOM content is loaded, show this error message so we know that what we did is working. So let's go live on login HTML to test it and see if it works. We're live and we can see that error message, right? So if I click on this, because we linked our guy, it should disappear. If I remove that JS, it won't be able to disappear. So now let's try to if you notice it's not showing like an error message and then it's no longer showing on top. So let's put those our position classes and change the color a little bit. So we can say where is it again? So instead of alert warning, let's make it alert danger. And then we can make the test to be red to test danger. And then I might add some margin around it. And then position too. So position, want it to be absolute. We don't want it inside the element. Position absolute. Then we can start. Want it to start from the right. So end 0. Then top 0. Yeah, top 0. This should do it. Yeah, so we'll have it here started from the right and showing. So let's make it a container so that to spread out. Yeah, so this should work. Now this, if there's an error, this should come up. Now that we say okay, yeah, I think it looks like what we want. You can also center the message. Meanwhile, you can reduce the width, but I think I prefer it this way. You can reduce the width to yeah, but to reduce the width you need to size it. You need to size it kind of. Let me just check. Oh, it worked without sizing. Yeah, so but I prefer it to be full. So let's not reduce the width. Yeah. And the test center, so we can center the test. Alright, yeah, this is fine now. So we can take this out. We don't need this, just wanted us to go through how it was done. And then instead of calling it when done document is loaded, let's call it when there is an issue. Alright, so let's take it out. Don't call it, let's call it if there is a duplicate email. We've already gone through all this, so I believe I don't need to do any explanation around here. So if there's a duplicate email, fire this message. Alright, so this was the one exactly what we did last time that wasn't working, but we've corrected the issue and now it is working. So we can take this out. We can even bring this inside here so you don't just load this class when it's not needed. So let's use it to replace this guy. Alright, so instead of doing this, we can now put a real message. So which email, user.email already exists. So user.email already exists. Alright, so now let's try to sign in with an email that already exists and see if we get this error message. First off, we need to look at the storage and see what we have already at the storage. So let's wipe all of this and start afresh. So let's sign up. Username is Arinze, password is 12345 12345. Email is arinze@gmail.com. Sign up. Alright, so he signed us up, created an account for us. So we have a state for the logged in user, which is showing that Arinze is logged in, and then Arinze has been added to the list of the users. So now let's try to sign up another user with probably Bamidele 12345. But then we started to use the same arinze@gmail.com. We're expecting that error to pop up. So arinze@gmail.com already exists. Alright, so it can move on. We'll close it, we'll try it again, same thing. So I think it makes more sense now. Alright, but if we decide to use another, let's call this Bamidele. Bamidele gmail.com, and then signs Bamidele in. Alright. Signs Bamidele in, and then saying hi Bamidele somewhere here. Alright. So that's that for that. I think we're done with our sign up. Now let's go through our login. Any questions? Are we together? Any questions? Any questions?
So, sir.
Alright, so let's go on. So we're looking at the login now. All we just did is the auth. So let's look at the login. So kind of we are using the same page for login and auth. Alright. So I probably would have called this auth.html, but it's fine. Let's just call it login.html. So instead of where is our auth.js here? So all of this is for sign up, creating user. Alright. So we should not have another one for login. So I'll create a function. Okay, let's add the event listener. So document.getElement. So let's look at the login form and see how we're able to grab it. So this is the login guy. This is the login guy. Arinze. Is Arinze with us? Someone please drop the link to this meeting on the group, please. Drop the link to the meeting on the group, please. So let me continue with the login. So this don't have an account, sign up. So this is a login guy. This is a form. Just like we did in the other one, we need to give it an ID. So let's give it an ID of login or sign in. So we gave the other one sign up form. So let's call this sign in form, just because of uniformity. Sign in form. Alright. So grab sign in form and add a submit event to it, because we know it's a form and it has a submit button, which is this. Alright. So I save, I come back to auth.js. I create another function for sign in. No longer create user now. Const no, I don't even need to do this. Function sign in. Alright. So let's add the event listener here. Document.getElement by ID, this guy. And then once that happens, you call sign in, which is this our function that we created here. So because it's obviously going to be taking in this guy, because it's a callback to an event. So Yeah, thank you. So it's a callback to an event, and we need to prevent the default. We don't want the page to reload. So either prevent defaults, all right, because we don't want the page to reload. Now, what do we do when someone wants to sign in? We need to check, do validation if you want to do validation. So the validation will check if um, so let's log out again. So the validation will check if their username is actually an email, but we don't want to do that now. So all we need to do is to check if this username exists here, and then check if the password they have here is they entered is the correct password. So we'll now check if the password they have here is the correct password. All right. So how do we do it? We fetch the list of users, check if the email exists. If it doesn't exist, you flag an error. All right. If it exists, you check the password. All right. So what do we do first? We want to fetch the list of users. So we've already done it somewhere here. Existing users. So this is what we did here. So we could take all of this and paste it here. Existing users, blah 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 blah. We fetch it, we look through it. So if existing user dot email, so we need to grab the email and the password from the input. So let's give this an ID also, an ID of username. Username, I hope I don't have something, an ID like that's username already. Yeah, I have username already. So let me call this user name for login, and then this is gonna be password, an ID of password login. So username login, password login is the ID. Because IDs are unique, I don't want to repeat username and password because I already have it somewhere around there. So we need to grab those guys. So whenever someone wants to sign in, we grab the inputs. So say const username equals document or get elements. We're trying to get elements by ID. Which element are we trying to get? The one that has the ID of username login dot value. Yeah. And then the next one we need to grab is the password. Alright, so we'll call this password. And then before we move further, let me take this out for now. Let's console log it first and see that we are getting to this point. Password and then username. Alright, so let's check it out. Go to console. So I enter blah blah blah, password, blah blah blah, login. So we are logging it, which means we are getting the value. Now we can continue checking what we want to check. So I'll take all of these guys out and comment this man, and then we'll move on. So if we look through these existing users, pick out the email of each of the username of each of them one after the other, which is the email. The username is the email. So if existing user dot email is equals this email, that means that email actually exists, so the person can log in. So instead of this, let's say email exists to be true, or we don't even need to do this. We just assign existing user to this. Yeah, that's what we do. And then we'll break here. So we need to take this guy outside here. So we need to create an existing user here before we even check. So we'll fetch this. So let me just call this user equals null for now. Const user equals null. So if existing user.email is equals username, sorry guys, let me bring this back again. Then user equals existing user. Who doesn't understand what I did now? So as we are looping through this guy, if you see any user that the email matches the one they enter, that means that user actually exists. Assign it to this user. If not, continue. But if you're able to see that one, assign it. You don't need to continue the loop. Just break out of the loop. So we come down here and say if user. So if there is user. So this is like also saying if user is not equals null. But because I know JavaScript to allow truthy or falsy values, I could say if user and it will work fine. So if user, then continue, else. Alright, so normally I always look at the bad scenario first. So instead of saying if user, I'll say if no user, then throw an error. Where is the error? So instead of saying this guy already exists, I should say this email does not exist. This username does not exist. But because this is a login flow, we don't want them to know exactly what the problem is. So we could just say authentication error, or invalid login, or login details incorrect. So let me say invalid login details. They don't know whether it's the username or the email or the password. Reason we are doing this is I probably might want to be trying to log in into someone's account. Let's say I'm a malicious user and I'm trying to log in into someone's account. I don't know their password. I don't even know probably I have a list of their emails, but I don't even know the one they used to sign up on the system. So all I need is to keep trying. Anyone it now shows me, oh, the email doesn't exist, I know, yeah, this email is not there. But if I see invalid login details, I don't even know if it's the wrong password or the email. So it gives malicious user more work to do instead of pointing them to what the issue is. So in this case, we give a vague, very vague error response. So if no user, show this error. Else, you continue. You log in the user. So how do we log in the user? we fetch that user, we already have our list of existing users. So the same thing we are doing here, we'll fetch we'll loop through these existing users. Okay, we don't even need to edit it. All we need to do is get the logged in user. So where's that logged in user state? This is it here. So we'll get this logged in user state and use it to replace whatever was there before. Alright? So let's take this line. If you guys still remember what we did here. I'm sure nobody have gone through this to review it, so you guys probably don't remember what happened here. So if the user exists, then let logged in user be that user, and then you set it to local storage, and then redirect redirect to the home page. Redirect to the home page. Who doesn't understand what happened? Who doesn't understand? So if you come here and say, yeah, someone saying something. Hello?
Yes, I said I don't understand.
Okay, tell me where you're having issues with. Where do you need clarification on?
This last part that you just said.
From which line to which line?
From line 70.
Alright. So if the user doesn't exist through an error, makes sense. If the user exists, remember, we are trying to keep the state like we want this guy to be able to serve any user that logs in. So if I log in and use it, you can also come and log in your accounts on this same application, and it's not going to be replacing, like we have a list of users. So we need to keep track of whoever is logged in at that point, because you don't want to be showing I log in and instead of showing hi Chukwudi, are showing hi Amarachi. That doesn't make sense, right? So you want to keep track of whoever is logged in and keep track of their data. How do we do that? There's something we call state. State. So in programming, when you keep track of things like that, say you are keeping states. So state is like holding data for a particular thing you are doing. Once you are done, you drop it. So you say you drop the state. So what we did is to create a state called logged in user in our local storage to track whoever is logged in. So when you create a new user, you automatically log that person in, which is what we did here. Alright. But then, what we did here, here. You automatically log that person in. Now that someone is logging in, we're also doing the same thing, logging them in. What are we doing? We want to keep track of the user, the object of the user that's logged in. So that user logged in is this guy, the one we fetched. Remember, if there is a user, then we've fetched the user object from local storage, and then we stringify it because we only save things in local storage as string. So we stringify it and then set it local storage.set item, set it to local storage, and then once we've been able to do it, we confirm that this person is logged in, we redirect the person to the login page, to the home page. Sorry, does it make sense?
Yes.
Alright, so that's what we're doing. So let me take out this guy and then let's try it. So which email exists on the application? So let me use arinze@gmail.com with a password of 12345. So there's an error. Assignment to custom variable in line 62. Alright, so user is, so should be let. No, sorry. So this should be let's not const because we are reassigning values to it. So let's go again. arinza@gmail.com 5 login. Alright, so because he exists, we're able to log in. I log out again. I'll put arinza1@gmail.com. I log in. Invalid login details. Now, okay, I used wrong password. Let me put the right password. 1 2 3 4 5. Login. Invalid login details. So now we don't know whether it's the password that's wrong or the email that's wrong. But because we know that we entered an invalid email, that's why it's showing us invalid email and login details. So now the second stage of this is this. What we are only checking here is if the user exists. We also need to check if that user exists, if the password they entered is actually the real password of the user. Does it make sense? Because if you notice, Arinze's password is 12345. Let me put some random gibberish here. It will log in. Okay, yeah, this should be Arinze, not Arinze1. It will log in because we're not checking for the password. So we need to tell our assistant to check for the password. How do we do that? So this is when there is no user. Alright? So if there's no user, do this. Else, so if there is a user with that email, check the password. So if user dot, what did we call it? I think we called it password. Application, local storage. Yeah, so user dot password. If user dot password is not equals, remember I always look at the negative side first. If user dot password is not equals this password that they entered. Alright, so if user password is not equal that password that was entered, then we need to do this too. We need to fire this error too. We need to fire another error. So I can actually make this cleaner. Yeah, Arinze, I have a question you can ask.
Sir, can't we use like and operator to
Here,
get the two conditions?
here, right?
Yes, instead of
Alright. So
Windows 2
that's a smart one too. So it should be an or, not an add. And so if any of this happens, then don't continue. So what I'm going to do is, so if there is no user or the user exists but the password doesn't exist, so I put a parenthesis, I'm throwing the second condition. So if there is no user or the password doesn't match this password, throw that same error. So Arinze has saved us the stress of repeating this logic, so we can use the same thing. So now our system is also going to check the password. Who doesn't understand what happened here? Let me give you guys a little time to look at it. If you don't understand, let me know. We understand, right? So let's move on. So we're trying to log in with Arinze, correct email, but some random gibberish as a password. Now we're able to get this. It doesn't allow us to log in with any random stuff anymore. So 1 2 3 4 5, and then we're able to log in. All right. So now the login and it's checking for both email and password. So now let's also look at the implementation for logouts. All right, I can't remember what we did there. Let's look at the implementation for logouts. Let's go to index HTML or landing page. Landing page. Yeah. So logouts. So have an idea of logout. I think we probably did some logic on auth. So let me check auth. Either auth or main. There's somewhere we did that logic. Yeah, it's in main. So when we click on excuse me, when we click on logout, it will remove that logged in user. All right, it will remove that logged in user from local storage. So that way, we the system now knows that nobody is logged in. All right. So one other important thing we need to check, because now I've confirmed we are doing this well, we are removing the logged in user. So this is fine. And then we completed the login, we completed the logout, we completed sign up. So one other important thing we now need to do is to protect all our pages. All right. For instance, let me log out. I've cleared all the users. There's even no user anymore now. And then I go to, let me stop this guy from running. So notice that this is our index for alright. So hold on a second. Let's move this guy out of here. Alright. So let's move so this, I don't want this to be showing on our URL. This landing page thing, I don't want it to be showing on our URL. It doesn't make so much sense. So I'm going to move all of the guys inside it out. Yeah. And then move CSS. Call the CSS home.css, because that's the home page. And then move it inside our styles. Alright. Just like we did for login. And then we'll go to so this should be inside pages. Yeah. And then we go to this index.html and import the CSS correctly. So let's jump a step, assets, styles, home.css. Alright. And then okay, I think we imported these guys correctly. Now let me show you what I wanted to show us. If I go live on this page, you notice without any user, we are not logged in, but then we are able to access this page. If you go to application, no, there's no user. So nothing is even checking, but at the end of the day, we're able to access this page. We don't want that to happen. we want this page to be protected. You can only come here when you are logged in. So what do? We need to go and put a guard on the page. So we go to index.html, and then so we need to guard it from unauthorized access. So I think main is all around the place. Main is all around the place. So go to main, and then so what do we do? Is there main on login? Yeah, there's no main on login. So we are safe to do what I want to do. So go to main.js. We are saying whenever the DOM content loads, I think there's even an event that should happen before DOM content loads. So let me see. Let me try to do something. Document.get add event listeners. Which event? DOM content loaded. Blah blah blah. Yeah, I think this load starts. You should check this load starts. I think that load starts does it. But just to be sure, a quick Google search. DOM event to fired when the page is about to load. Yeah. Load, before load, unload. Alright, so let's find the one we're using. We need. So the load event is fired by when all the server page are fully loading, including blah 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 blah. Alright, so let's just continue with this DOM content loaded. I think it serves our purpose. Alright, so when the DOM content loaded is loaded, then we need to call let me just call it auth-guard. We need to call this auth-guard guy. We'll create it somewhere down. Function auth-guard. What does it do? It will check if there is a logged in user. Alright, if there is a logged in user, if there's no logged in user, it will redirect you to login. So it will be doing this. So how do we check if there's a logged in user? We are going to use this key. So we are saying local storage dot get item. Const logged in user equals this guy. So if no logged in user, redirect. All right, so I believe this guy should move us. Yeah, so let's try to access that page again. We probably won't be able to, because anytime we try to hit it, it will move us back to login. So I've closed all the pages open. Let me close this too. So let's try to hit the index.html again. It should redirect us to, yeah, so it's moving us back to login because we do not we are not logged in. All right, so it tried to load, but then it moves us back to login. So if you say index.html again, it's moving us back to, if you notice, if I type index here and I click on enter, it will move to login. Alright, so it's like we're going to move again. It's 10 minutes. What's the time? To 8. So in 10 minutes time, this link is going to expire again. We should switch. Alright, we should switch. So let's create another meeting again. It's becoming annoying, but what can we do? So I copy the link and I'll paste it in the other one as usual. So let's switch to the other one. I'll let this die. So let's switch to the new link I dropped. Hopefully this will be the last for today. So Arinze, Ami, switch to the new link. Arinze. Alright. So I can now leave this one and then we'll move on to this one. Confirm when you can see my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, you can see your screen, sir.
Alright, so let's continue. Now we've added a guard to that index.html. But the good thing is, it's not only the index.html. Because this guard is on our main.js, it will affect every page we load this main.js on. Alright? So all we now need to do is to make sure that we are loading this main.js on all the places that needs it. So we've added it to index.html. We also need to add it to, so let me bring this guy outside this place too. We also need to add it to here. Okay, it's added here already. So let me bring this guy inside here too. So cancel. So instead of calling this guy, let me call it view blog. View blog.html. Alright, and then I'll move it to pages. and then call this one all the styles. Okay, yeah. View blog.css, and then I move it to CSS. I can now take this landing page out and this blog page out also. Alright, so we have give me a sec, guys. Alright, so let's move on. If you try to load this guy, okay, let's try to even re-import the style because I know it must have affected it. Assets, styles, view block CSS, yeah. So when we try to load this view block HTML now, it also will not be able to load. It's redirecting us. So everything aside that will have that main JS now is taking us back to login. The reason is we are not logged in. So let's try to log in now. Arinze 1 2 3 4 5. Invalid login detail. I think we wiped our database. I think we wiped our local storage. Yeah, we wiped our local storage. There's nothing on it. So let's sign up again. Arinze 1 2 3 4 5. Yeah. So sign up. Yeah. So this landing page, I need to remove it from our redirection. So let me remove it from the alt.js. So if I remove this, it should work now. Because move that guy out of that folder. Yeah. So now because we are signed in, if you come here, it doesn't happen anymore. If we also go to view page, all things being equal, it's not going to happen anymore. So let's try to load view page too. So view is showing, hold on. Oh, this is what we have on view that I said you guys should try to work on. It's true. So we need to work on this. It looks quite different. So I think Arinze was doing create. No, we already have a view. Oh, so I think Arinze changed it. Yeah, I remember now. So I remember now. Alright, so I remember now. We had a view, but Arinze changed it. So quickly, let's try to create a view.html. In that case, I should take out this view. We won't be needing it anymore. So let's quickly run a view.html. The nav is fine. Yeah, so this is a guy you just want to change. So I could just say name, and then let me use Bootstrap hold on. Yeah. So let me go to layouts. Pick out a layout for that guy. Where's layouts? Yes, this layout here. No, we don't even need columns. We don't even need. Yeah, we did. We do. We need two guys. I think one was supposed to show the title, and then one was supposed to show an image. Alright, so those are like the two things we needed. So we take this guy and make it two columns. So instead of having 3 columns, we're going to take out one. We just need 2 columns. Then can I say co? Yeah, so let's see how it goes first. I always have the background first. BG Danger. Just to see what it looks like. CSS is alright, so we have these two guys here in 2 columns. If I try to adjust it, how does it behave? Yeah, so I think that's fine. And then what else do we want to put there? It's a container. Where is main? So this should be inside main. Then under it, we want to have another container. That will now contain the write-up. So Lauren, blah blah blah. Lauren, blah 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 again. Lauren, blah 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 again. Alright. So let's see what it looks like. Yeah. So we could add some margin to space it out. So let's add some margin. Let's add some margin around here. Margin 5. Same with this guy. Then let's remove this danger thing. We don't need the background again. Just want to see how that guy will behave. So we have. So we're going to put image here, and then the details about the what's it called? The title of the blog. Maybe the date when the blog was created. The person that wrote the blog. Some details about the blog. Alright. So let me put some divs. So call this title. No, I mean literal title. Then the next one is going to be dates. So I have dates. in a span here. Dates. Maybe another span for author. You cannot add maybe views and stuff like that, but let's leave that for now. So date and then author. So what else do we need to add? So let me bring this down. So and then this is gonna be an image. This should be an image. Alright, so it's taking shape a little. So let me look for an image. Any static image we're gonna use. So which image do we use? Let's say tech images. Alright, so let's use this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. I'm gonna copy the URL. Maybe inside it first. I had to take a call, so sorry. Alright, so where are we? Alright, so we're looking for image. That's where we were. Yeah. So let's use this guy. Come on, this image is. Let's quickly. Let's hope it's not a very long image. URL. So let's put the image here. IMG. Yeah, so it's not as long. Alright, so have the image and we'll try to control it. So let's give this guy a height. So this div is inside this and it's containing this. So let's give this a height. Height of h. Let's call it 25%. So I might review both heights of 25%. So let me use CSS. I don't know if I style height 25%. need to look at. So for some reason, nothing I'm doing here is showing. Okay, BG, I did DG. BG danger. Yeah. All right. Now, so like I need to even size this image. With 100% height, 100%. Alright, yeah. So now I can give this guy a height of 25%. So that was, I didn't size the image, so it was going out of, wasn't listening to what I was saying. So I think H25, I hope that's the bootstrap class. I've forgotten about this. It's been at least 2 years I did anything front end, so yeah, but that worked. Let me also try to increase it to 50 just to be sure it's working. So it seems it's not working. Report height of 25%. Well, I think I like how it works though. But then there's something I always do with this kind of thing. I always advise you not to use the image directly inside it. Images can be funny, believe me. Handling images is one of the most funny thing you will have to do. As a front end dev, as a back end dev, it will be dates. But front end is images. So you're going to have some images where if you size them, they will lose their shape. The image will be distorted, so will be blurred. So in that case, what I normally do is to use it as a background. So we'll just continue with this, but for this, the best approach would have been to make this instead of putting this image directly here, to set a height on this guy and then make that image the background image of this guy. Alright, so we'll just continue, all things being equal. We'll get to that image that will give us Wala, and then we'll find a solution to it. Alright, so we have the date and the other guy. So we need to probably move this guy to the center of this place. There's a bootstrap class to do that. So utilities, probably inside utilities, you should be able to see it. Blah 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 blah, test or something. Okay, I think it's vertical align. This horizontal, this vertical, yeah. So vertical align. Align baseline, align middle. Let me try this. Change the alignment, blah 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 blah. So yeah, hopefully it works. So for this guy, yeah, for this guy, align middle. Hopefully it works. Didn't. It didn't. Yeah, but let me find a way to do it, to make it to align. I'm even wondering why. Find the right bootstrap class too. So I think there's a bootstrap style that's affecting that our test, because normally it's supposed to start from the top. So I'm going to try this. So yeah, hopefully it works. Didn't. It didn't. So for this guy, align middle. Hopefully it works. So yeah, hopefully it works. So this guy, We have something already affecting it. So what break? Let's transform, font size, font weight, line height. Yeah. So it was that alignment that was affecting it. So now we can put this on this and yeah, so this should be fine if you have a couple of things on it. We should also have the authors. Yeah, I wanted to make this guy. I remember. I wanted to make this guy secular. Then, if I still remember, I wanted to make it secular. So that's let's get that. There's a bootstrap class that does. Can I even still remember? Let me know if I can still remember the class. So it's gonna be rounded peel. Is it rounded peel or something? I can't remember. No. Let me find it. That's in images. Should be in images. Images, yeah. Rounded something something. Oh, it's not in images. So let me do a Google search. Bootstrap secular images. There's a class for it. Bootstrap secular images. Rounded. Yeah, I did rounded. It didn't work. Okay, rounded circle. Rounded circle. No. No. Yeah, rounded circle. So we'll try to make it a square. Alright, so we'll try to make it a square. So instead of making it 100%, let's give it a fixed width. So let's say 50 px, 50 ps. Alright, that might be small. So for it to make it a perfect circle, you need to be a square for it to be a perfect circle. Alright, so that's small. Let's try to increase it to something like 200. 200. Yeah, this makes more sense now. And then we add some things to this guy and bring it down. So let's put some margin top to that guy. this. What are utilities you're looking for? Vertical line. Oh, this is inside the test. Oh, inside the test. So let me just add some margin top to this guy. That should margin top 5. Empty 5 for margin top 5. Yeah, that should do it. So let's, yeah, I think this is fine. Just have the author's image, the title, and then some. So we could try to make this fine now, the title and all of those, and find a good design for it, and then have. So this is what the view page should look like. This is what the view, something similar. What's the time? B is after 8. So let's just try to complete this thing. Next we'll do is in our next thing will be create. We'll try to create a blog. So this is a view. There's a list. Alright. There's a list. And then there's a view. So let's link this view to this. So when you click on this, you're going to see the title, sum of the test. And then when you click on the view, it's going to take us to the view proper. So let's do that. So let's go to the list. Are we still together? Am I talking to myself?
Yes, we are with you, sir.
Alright. So I think someone dropped it. Let me see. Oh, so as Irene says, battery is down. So let's go to the list, which is the index HTML. I need to take. So we have a button that says view there. So we don't need to be coming to display directly normally. So we have this button that says view. So when you click on it, that's what we want to go to the view guy. So we'll go to card title. Yeah, so this is the guy. Now when they click on it, you want to go to the view itself. Alright, so I've added that. Alright, so when you click on this guy, blog page. Nice. Hold on. Did I not save? I saved. It's supposed to take us a view that's. Hold on, guys. So it's supposed to go to view the HTML. I save. I come here again. So when I click on this, I don't know what happened the last time. So it should bring us to this guy. So I'll actually, maybe we can try to, when we actually get the real thing, we can try to adjust this to look a bit finer. But this is fine. This is not bad. And then which other page do we need? So we need another page too, the create page. So we need a page where you can write your blog, the title of the blog, the blog itself, and then we add it to this guy, to your list of blogs. Alright, so let me check time and see if it's okay. This is past 8 already. We won't be able to do that. So by next class, we'll have that page. No. Okay, yeah. By next class, we'll have that page, but I won't be the one to do it. I won't be the one to do it. So that will be assignment for next class. I'll push this code.
Oh,
Now, I hope you guys are
I
listening.
feel like
You guys should listen attentively now. I'll push this code.
Yes.
I need everybody that I've not created. I'm sure I've added everybody as an collaborator to this repo. So I need you to create a branch. Call it your name. So if your name is Akindele, you call it Akindele. If your name is Arinze, you call it Arinze. So you create a branch, call it your name, so that we can easily identify your branch when we see it. And then do something for me. Create something similar to this. I've shown Arinze this before. Arinze is owing me the assignments.
Okay, like that page.
No, create something.
Like that page.
This one.
Yes.
No,
Something like this.
no. This is the view. See what I want you guys to do for me. I have one funny this thing I did. That's what I used for the example for Arinze. I'm trying to remember my sticky notes. I think that's what I called it. My sticky. Sometimes it's not so. Let me try to. So let me try to. Yeah, this is the guy here. Yeah, you can see my page, my screen, right? Alright, so something like this. So I forget about this. I just need a page that will have that our. Okay, let me copy this. Let me copy this URL, and then we can close this. I hope you guys are paying attention. So hold on.
might be limited.
Alright. So forget this. We already have our nav. So we'll just repeat that nav. Though we're still going to come back to work on this our nav, but we'll just repeat it. So all you need to do is to come here, copy this nav part of this thing. You see this nav? Just copy it. Alright? Whatever is happening here, just copy it. Whatever you're not doing will start from here down. Because that nav, we want it to be the same all over. Alright? So you get it. The nav is there already. I need something like this. It mustn't be this color. Let the color rhyme with what we have. You know we have something we're working with already. So we don't want to be using flying colors all around. It will have a place for title just like this. Please try to use Bootstrap so you write less CSS. So you put the title, let's say how to link Bootstrap to your HTML. Alright, so that's the title, and then you put some whatever. Step 1, do this. Step 2, blah 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 blah. Alright, so we do all of those, and then I want to have it. So I just want you to do the UI. That's all I want. So when you do all of this, then you should have something like a button. It mustn't be this. It's just this concept. If you want to make it look like this, fine. If you want to make it look better, excuse me, fine. But I just want it to be something that has this concept. So this is supposed to be expanding. But don't mind this thing that happened here. Don't mind this thing that happened here. So this is just something I was playing around with. And then you click on add. It's going to add it. But you don't need to do this part. All you need to do is to do what? Give me a place to type in the title and the what's it called? The blog itself. To link Bootstrap, blah 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 blah. So this is just what I need in a page. So that we're able to create a blog. So that's one other page we need, and we are done. We'll continue. So by next class, I want to see everybody. Go to GitHub. If you need this, I can drop this for us. I'll drop this for us on the group. So I need everybody to create
Yes,
something
sir.
that does this for me.
At the same time.
Go to GitHub,
Yes. Yes.
create a branch. Oh, my battery's about to die.
It's looking like 5 p.m.
What's the name of that guy again? He hits this. Yeah. So create a branch. I only have my branch here. Okay, this was done by I think Sebastian. So create your own branch. Don't do it on this main branch. Create your own branch and um, do the changes. When we come to next class, look at what everybody have done. We'll try to match some and then we'll pick the best and we are good to go. So that's the assignment for this class. I'm going to look at the assignment of this today and last week's own by next class.